Alright folks, it's Back in action here. In this video, we are going to review the algebra skills needed for Chapter 3. We're going to review those one more time. Several of these problems are going to be familiar, but we're going to go over them one more time just in case. We're going to start up here with number 1. What is the slope of the line x equals 7? Just a little reminder here. If the equation is simply x equals a number, then it must be a nice vertical line, so its slope will always be undefined. You cannot say no slope, you need to specifically say undefined. On our next one, we want to find what is the slope of a line that's perpendicular to this x equals 7. Well, if x equals 7 is a vertical line and we're going to be perpendicular, then our perpendicular line needs to be horizontal, and its slope is always going to be 0. The next thing we want to look at is we want to write the equation of a line that's going to be parallel to x equals 7, which means that our new line is also going to be an x equals a number. It needs to pass through this point, so I just need to find that x value, so it'll be x equals a negative 45. Next, we want to write the equation for a line perpendicular to x equals 7. Well, perpendicular to x equals 7 is going to be a horizontal line. Horizontal lines will be in the form y equals a number, so we're going to find that y coordinate here, so it will be y equals 19. So those are very, very fast and easy problems. The next thing we want to look at is working slope backwards. So just like we did midpoint backwards and we've done distance formula backwards for missing values, we're going to do the same thing with slope. So on number 5, I have a line that contains these 2 points. So let's just right away find its slope. So I'm going to do 1 minus a negative 1, which is really going to be 1 plus 1. I can do 3 minus a negative 6, that will be 3 plus 6. That's going to give me a slope of 2 over 9. Now, my other line is going to be perpendicular to this one, so I'm going to need the perpendicular slope, which will be a negative 9 halves, and it's going to contain these 2 points right here. Notice that I'm missing a coordinate in that second line, so when we set up our slope, our equation, we're going to say we know that our slope is supposed to be a negative 9 halves, and I can either do 5 minus y or y minus 5. Y minus 5 is going to be a little easier because it'll keep our variable positive. So I'm going to say y minus 5, then I can do 7 minus 1. 7 minus 1 is, of course, 6. So now when I go to solve this, I can simply cross multiply. When I do that, that's going to give me a 2 times y minus 5, and I'm going to have a negative 9 times a 6. If I divide both sides by 2 here, these 2's cancel, and this gives me a 3. So I have y minus 5 equals a negative 27, or y equals, that negative didn't show up very well there, equals a negative 22. All right, the next thing we want to look at is writing the equation of a line in point-slope form. Certainly slope-intercept form is the easiest one for graphing, but point-slope form is going to be the easiest one for us to write the equation for a line, and this one is going to be very important for us as we are working our problems in Chapter 3. So our line, our new line, is going to pass through this point right here, but it's going to be perpendicular to this line. So let's start off with finding the slope of the line that we already know. So the slope of the line we know, I'm going to do a 4 plus 1. That was my 4 minus my negative 1. Then I'm going to do 7 minus 6. So that's going to give me a 5 over a 1. My perpendicular slope is going to then be a negative 5. So my new line is going to pass through this point with this slope. Slope-intercept form looks like this. We are going to say y minus y sub 1, and then our slope and our x minus x sub 1. This is where our slope will go, and our ordered pair will go in for our x sub 1 and our y sub 1. And it's a lot less work that you have to do on these. So we're going to say y minus our y coordinate. So y minus a negative 3 is going to be y plus 3. We already identified our slope as a negative 5. And now we're going to say x minus a negative 26. So that's going to be x plus 26. All right. Now, these last two problems, we have seen these before. Just want to touch on it one more time. We are going to remember that whenever we have problems with our fractions in it, we want to clear those fractions before we do anything else. So we're going to multiply this entire equation by the least common multiple, or that least common denominator. As I distribute my 4 across, I can see that 2 is going to go into 4 2 times. So I'm going to be left with a 2 times a 3x. Then I'll have 4 times 2. Sometimes students even like to write these out. 4 distributes, these are going to cancel. I'm going to be left with a 5x. And my 4 distributes, and I'm going to have a 4 times my 6. Now from here, our problem is going to become pretty simple to solve. And we will be able to do 6x plus 8, 5x plus 24. Solving this, x equals 16. The last one we want to review is solving our system of equations. We want to notice that both of the equations that we've been given equal y, so we can set them equal to each other. So I'm going to say a negative 3/2 x plus 29 equals 1/12 x plus 41/6. Just like the last problem, we want to clear these fractions. We're going to multiply this time everything by 12. When I distribute my 12, 2 goes into 12 6 times. This time I'm going to simplify my work. 2 goes into 12 6 times. 6 times a negative 3 is a negative 18x. I'd take out my calculator. 12 times 29 is going to be 348. 12 goes into 12 once, times 1 is going to give me an x. 6 goes into 12 2 times 41 is going to be plus 82. Now, continuing my solving, I'm going to get a 19x. I'm going to get a 266. So my x value is 14. With that 14, we can substitute into either one of our equations. It does not matter. I'm going to choose this one because I think it's a little easier to work with. So I'm going to say a negative 3/2 times 14 over 1 plus 29. Of course, my 2 goes into 14 7 times. So I'm going to have my negative 21 plus my 29 gives me a y value of 8. And my final answer is an ordered pair of 14, 8. All right, these are our very important skills that we are going to use throughout chapter